Originally, I was going to call this episode How to Make a Bat Fascinator, but now it is I Try Making One. Hello my loves, I'm Miss MonMon, welcome to my channel. Today we will be creating a vintage inspired Bat Fascinator hat. As it is the most wonderful time of the year, it is a great way to incorporate the weird, wonderful, spooky and delightfully odd into your usual style. I have always loved it when vintage celebrities wore aspects of the macabre or the odd, and I've always been in love with spider prints or bat prints. And although I wanted to make either this dress from Katie Keene or this robe from Mae West, I ended up going down a bit of a simpler path just to make it easier on my health. And we decided that a bat fascinator would be a lot of fun. I got this idea 2 years ago and only bought everything I needed for the project last year, but it sort of never actuated into reality. So I'm excited just to be able to get this done this year. This is my bat fascinator that I made. I love it now, but when I was making it, there's at least 3 mini meltdowns in this one tutorial. So let's have a look at what we need to make this hat. The first thing we need is your brew of choice, preferably in a Halloween-ish mug. You will need a couple of things for this tutorial, and of course, everything is sort of customizable depending on the colors that you want your hat to be. Let's start with wire. You will need some wire. I used 18 gauge aluminium wire because it is quite soft and bendable, so you can really adjust as you go. You will need some tape. The only one I had on hand was some floral tape, but this is just to keep your wires together. You will need ribbon. I didn't use it and I wish I did, so I will tell you when to use it because it would just make life a bit simpler. You will need some velvet for your bat's outline. You will also need a lingerie padding sheet. This is a sheet of foam that they put inside bra cups to keep the bosom up and ample. And I have linked in my blog where I got mine from. You'll also need some cotton lining. This is any scrap fabric you have around the house. I just used some cotton from a dress that I made a few weeks back, as I had plenty of scraps left over. You will also need a needle and thread. If you have a curved needle, you will save yourself quite a lot of pinpricks to the finger. You will need some paper and a pen or pencil, a sewing machine, but you can just hand sew or hot glue, a hat stand or a head structure to help you mold and bend your wires, some hot glue and a hot glue gun, and alligator clips to adhere your hat to your head. I originally set aside 2 hours for this project. And because I was making up as I went along, it did end up taking me quite a while. So I would set aside a few hours for this, put on a bunch of movies, and just really relax and enjoy the process. So let's get started and make our bat fascinator. On your piece of paper, you are going to start by creating a bat-shaped template. You only need half a bat template, and the center seam should be curved. Sorry, the center edge should be curved because when you make your frame, it's going to curve around the back of your head. When you're happy with your template, cut it out. When cutting out your template, please add some seam allowance. It doesn't have to be a lot, but even 1 or 2 centimeters or half an inch is enough. Trust me, you'll thank me later. When you put it on the back of your head form, that's when you can see whether it's too big, too small, and adjust as needed. Using your template as a guide, you are now going to cut out 2 pieces from your velvet. So when you do that, if you're going to fold your velvet in on itself, put the template down and cut out 2 at once, that's fine. But if you're going to keep your velvet open, don't forget to turn your pattern over when you cut it out the second time, so you get 2 equal halves. With your 2 velvet halves, you are then going to put them right sides facing each other, and you are going to sew along the curved edge. If you don't have a sewing machine, you can hot glue or you can hand sew. This is completely up to you. Once you have attached your 2 halves together, go ahead and trim off any excess velvet inside the seam allowance, and then place your velvet bat shape on the back of your headstand to make sure you are happy with it. Now we are going to turn our attention to our wire. It would be a lot easier if you can pin your original template out of the paper that we made to your head form, because now when we bend the wire, you can bend it already into the curve against the headstand. I started from the bottom center, curved my wire up to the top where the bat's head would be, along the side of the wing, down the back of the wing, and then into the little curved crevices. When I reach my center bottom, twist your wires around each other to secure. Don't worry, we're going to go over this in tape and make sure it's really secure. With half of your bat turned into a wire frame, we're going to now make a wire frame for the other side, doing the exact same but opposite. When you have your 2 wire frames, we are now going to take our tape and tape up the center of the bat's body and around where we join the 2 wires together to make sure they are really strong and supported. What I wish I did in this step as well was grab some ribbon and wrap it around every part of the wire frame. This will be a huge help in the next couple of steps, but you can omit it. I managed to do it without it. It will just add a bit more strength and sturdiness. When you have your bat frame, put it on your head stand and make sure it fits really well curved. You can sort of push it into the frame to get the head curve that you need. Try it on the back of your own head just to make sure it fits. This really, really helps. When you are happy with your wired bat frame, you are going to grab your spare cotton, and this is going to be the lining of your hat. So it's this bit on the inside. It just makes your hat look a little bit more finished, and it just adds a little bit of extra strength. You're going to want it there. On the inside curve of your frame, you are going to place your cotton lining up against it. This is where your curved needle comes in. If you don't have a curved needle, you can just struggle with me. With your cotton on the inside of your frame, you are going to sew your cotton to your wire. You can do this in 2 halves. That's what I did. I did one side of the bat first and then the second bit. When you have your cotton lining attached to the inside of the frame, grab some sharp scissors. If I had proper embroidery scissors, that's what I would have used. But go ahead and trim off any excess fabric. Be careful not to cut your stitches as you trim, but that should basically be your lining done. On a spare sheet of paper, get your hat and create an outline of just 1/2 of your bat's frame. Cut it out and use it as a template to cut out your lingerie padding sheet. When you've cut that out, put it against 1/2 of your bat and trim it so it fits inside the inner wires. Once it fits snugly, grab your hot glue gun and some hot glue and attach that to your lining. This is why the lining is such a good step, because you have something to adhere the padding to and you won't damage your velvet. When you've done that, do the exact same thing to the opposite side, and you will be left with your wire frame with your lining sewn to it and 2 padded sheets glued. If you have done the 2 pieces of lining Since you got your hot glue gun out, glue the seam closed. We are now going to add some definition to our bat wings. When you have your bat frame, find the tip of the wing and measure the length of wire from that tip to wherever your little curves are on the bottom. That is going to create almost like a skeletal effect so you can see the bat's inner wings from the outside. Hot glue these frames down. It is now time to grab that velvet bat shape that we already made, and we are going to attach it to the outside. I started by adding some hot glue straight down the middle center seam of our hat and placing my velvet on there, making sure that there's enough room on either end. With your bat's center glued down, remember how I told you to add seam allowance? This is going to come in. What we are going to do is put hot glue right on the very edge of the hat. Stretch the velvet and glue it to that edge. Don't worry about the overlap now. We're going to do the entire edge of the bat and then worry about the overhang. Go along slowly, add glue bit by glue bit, and attach it. You should now have your velvet attached only to the very outside edge of your bat hat. Now is the time to grab your hot glue gun again and either a pair of pliers or just risk the multiple hot glue burns that are just a rite of passage for any crafter. Add hot glue to any velvet overhang and stretch and adhere it to the lining. When you've attached the velvet overhang to your lining, you can then go ahead and add some ribbon along the edges where the velvet meets the lining. This will cover up any glue leakage and it'll professionally finish your hat. The very last thing is now hot gluing some alligator clips to the inside of your hat, as this is what helps your hat stay on your head. With your clips attached, you're basically done. That's it. We did it. Here is what my hat looks like in everyday wear. I think it's actually really cute. This project can be a little bit challenging. I hope that my method, which I figured out on my own, helps you create the best bat fascinator you can. I have written out all these descriptions. That's the word I want. I have written out all the descriptions with photos accompanying it because I know my footage wasn't the best angle, and because of how many times I had to rethink my plan, I don't know whether I 100% best captured the entire process. If I do remake this hat, I will properly film it step by step and add it into a reel, which will be on my Instagram, so go and follow and find me there. I'd love to have you along for my vintage adventures. And that is my tutorial for making a bat fascinator. I actually really do like this little guy a lot more than I thought I did. Hold on. Yes! I love having dark hair and making a dark fascinator because it just really helps people see. And that is it. That is all I have time for you guys today. Thank you so much for joining me on another vintage crafting adventure. I'm really enjoying coming back into making videos and content for you. As always, please feel free to like, comment and subscribe to any of my social media. I'd love to have you along for my vintage adventures of mainly tomfoolery, hot glue and optimism. I hope you're all having a fantastic spooky season. I am actually on a magical tropical island at the time of posting this video. But wherever you are in the world, I hope you are happy, healthy and safe. I will see you guys all in the next video, but until then, be kind, be true, be you, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye! I think next year I'm going to take a short millinery course just so I don't make an arse of myself when I try to do these tutorials. You're upset because I'm in your spot again. We do this every video. Okay.